It's a fascinating day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Not only do we have new secret layers to talk about, but Wizards of the Coast has just revealed some of the most amazing promos that they've ever created.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another installment of Mega Magic News. This one is focused on new secret layer action and a bunch of awesome promo cards. So, starting out with the secret layers, if you're not aware, Wizards of the Coast has been going ham lately. Over the last couple of days, they have dumped so much information that it's literally going to take a series of videos to cover everything. Now, in terms of Warhammer 40k, we already talked about how they're doing commander decks for those, but we have not talked about how they are doing 3 Games Workshop secret layers. Not only are we going to be getting a Warhammer 40k aligned secret layer, but there's also an Age of Sigmar Warhammer secret layer. And if you're not familiar, Warhammer 40k is your Space Age, Psychic Powers, and Chain Swords. And the other style is Age of Sigmar, where you have, instead of psychic powers, you have magic powers. And you have more traditional style like swords and shield style stuff instead of your high-tech gear. Now, obviously, Age of Sigmar is a better fit for the traditional sense of Magic the Gathering, but as far as I understand it, in terms of Warhammer, Age of Sigmar is maybe at most like 1/10 as popular as Warhammer 40k, so that would explain why 40k is getting the big treatment and Sigmar is getting kind of like the side treatment. But honestly, what was really surprising to me was the fact that they are making a Blood Bowl secret layer from Games Workshop. Now, if you are not familiar with Blood Bowl, I am a pretty big fan of Blood Bowl. I even got one of these little fancy boy banners here. So, Blood Bowl is football. Now, I'm not a big sports guy, but Blood Bowl takes the idea of football and adds in a bunch of zany ridiculousness where it's like, forget the normal rules of football. Imagine somebody was able to just drive like a pickup truck onto the field and just start gunning at people up, just trying to slam into them on the field. Boonk, boonk, that kind of stuff. But instead of the truck, you've got like a big dwarven death roller with spikes that are right. It's just like, it's so goofy and silly. And I loved it back in like the 80s and 90s. And when they reissued it in the current era, I snagged a copy as well. I had all the Blood Bowl teams and stuff. I even have the old original metal trophies. It's actually the only thing I've left of Blood Bowl aside from the app on my phone, because I even downloaded the app with random crazy events where like, hey, one of the fans throws a rock at somebody's head. It gets silly. I love it. Anyways, they're going to be doing a secret layer based on that, right? Now, those are secret layers we know for a fact Wizards of the Coast is doing. There are a couple of rumored secret layers that I'm going to slap on here as well. Bear in mind, these are rumors. They may not happen as well. But there are rumors of the Minecraft secret layer and a Doctor Who secret layer, but really at full-on rumor level. So fun to think about, but don't take it as if it's guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is the new Persistent Petitioners. Yes, we have yet another secret layer bonus card of the Petitioners. This one is a lot of fun. If you're not familiar with the Petitioners, it's a really straightforward mill concept. 1 blue and 1 gets you a 1/3 human advisor. 1 and tap it, you can mill a card off the top of your opponent's deck. Or if you have 4 of these guys out, then you can tap them and target player mills 12 cards. And the most exciting part of this is the fact that a deck can have any number of Persistent Petitioners, right? Now, I haven't kept track of exactly how many secret layer variants we've gotten of these Petitioners. This might be number 5, but it ranks up there as a lot of fun. And I actually learned something from this card based on the flavor text. The flavor text says, we demand appeal of these ridiculous sumptuary laws. Additionally, so the flavor text basically follows this pattern for all the petitioners. They all have demands that they are making, and they continue onwards as if they're droning on forever. And a lot of the flavor texts really do feel like you can staple them together into this big, long, droning procession, right? Because the flavor idea behind this card is supposed to be it's people who have a political agenda to the point where they are so dogged they will never stop. They keep coming back with documentation. They just go over and over and over. Now, up until today, I thought that sumptuary and sumptuous were just words that were specifically used to reference food. And that was actually tied into the turkey concept in the back of the artwork. I thought that these ladies were here petitioning to have the biggest, fattest turkeys in the land. And to me, that was super fun. I was like, wait a minute, these ladies are just obsessed with having the biggest turkeys? And I was like, wait a minute, do I actually know what sumptuary means, or am I just picking it up from context? And sure enough, I had picked it up from context, and it had only ever been used for me in terms of a sumptuous feast or things like that. But sumptuary laws are actually based on excess. The idea behind sumptuary laws is you are not allowed to have clothing that is too expensive. You are not allowed to wear expensive jewelry. And there are different levels of sumptuary law, right? You can have ones like way over the top where you can't have helmets made of gold. But there were societies where they had rules that said our money can only be made out of iron. You're not allowed to own gold or silver. In places like Japan, they had sumptuary laws that literally restricted the size of your house and things like that. There's all these different layers. It was kind of a fascinating read to know that there were sumptuary laws in the past that stated that only barons could eat meat pies and baked meat. And it's like, first of all, how do you enforce this? But secondly, absolutely mind-blowing, right? So these petitioners are basically like, we should be able to live with these excesses that you're saying that we shouldn't be allowed to. Now, most of the time, when it comes to sumptuary laws, they're usually based in some way around the society's religion. So that's kind of where it comes from, and so it's tied into that. Obviously, we don't know what's going on with this situation, but I like the fact that these ladies feel like they are flouting the sumptuary laws, not only with their mega turkeys, but also with the gold chains and everything. Like, they're dripping with what looks like wealth, and I love the three different stances, right? You have the one up at top in this powerful stance, like, we are here to command, and then you've got the one in the background who's doing what feels almost like a weird interpretive dance move. But the one in the front, her head posture and the way she's just looking at the people they're addressing, I love it. There's so much character in that. Really zoom in on her and you can feel the vibe that she is transmitting across the card, right? So this is a really cool little secret layer bonus card, but I got to show you something way crazier, and that is this Sol Ring, okay? This is a massively smart move on Wizards of the Coast's part. What you're looking at is an old concept, new era Sol Ring. And by that I mean the artwork on it is from a newer version of Sol Ring. But they've taken the old school original border from Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast is taking us down to Browntown with these old school borders. Now, if you're wondering why they didn't use the original Sol Ring artwork for this card, the reason behind that is because Wizards of the Coast has royalty entanglements from the original days of Magic the Gathering. Nowadays, they just pay straight out for the artwork. Whatever their fee is, they pay the artist, right? But back in the day, when they didn't have a lot of money, Wizards of the Coast basically came to artists and said, hey, we don't have a lot of money. We would like to pay you a little bit of money to paint the art, but we're going to give you a royalty agreement where based on for every single copy of a card that sells with your art on it, you will get like whatever it is, a fraction of a cent. I don't know the exact numbers, but that's the way that it operated. And the artists signed up to that, at least the majority of them, thinking they would never see a penny. Essentially, it was a bunch of artists who needed the work and were like, yeah, you know what, I'll do this. Sure, I'll take the royalties, but they expected the royalties to be zero. Lo and behold, some of these artists reported being floored by the amount of money they got. Like the one artist, was it Dan Frazier? I can't remember exactly who it was. But anyways, they got their check, right? And the amount of money that was on it, they're just like, whoa, what's up with this check? And they thought it was for the whole year. And then they were told, no, that's just your first check. And so they got paid a pittance, but then all of a sudden royalties started bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Think about how many different copies of original Magic cards were printed, right? I don't remember exactly when the royalty deal was shifted into a pay per piece, but Sol Ring is from way back in the day, but this new artwork is under the new contract. So Wizards has used it a ton of times and can use it as many times as they want. So taking the Sol Ring, giving it an old school border like this, instantly creates demand. This is going to be a super, super desirable card. Not everybody will want to own it, but on one level, everybody will want to have it at least temporarily just for the trade value, right? Like if you can get your hands on one and move it on to somebody else, you're going to be set. So these are actually going to be pretty easy to acquire if you live somewhere where there is an LGS, because Wizards is doing another Love Your LGS promo. Last time they did it, we got Fabled Passage. And Fabled Passage, admittedly, is an alright card, right? But it was in Throne of Eldraine, it was in Standard, and now it's rotated onwards. You don't see it in Standard anymore. It's not as exciting, right? So they had something that was like fire as a promo, but then that fire kind of dwindled. Whereas the Sol Ring, unless of course they keep doing iterations of the old border, this is something that will just become more desirable over time. So how it works is you go to your LGS once they've received these, and then if you spend $50 or more American on sealed product, you will be given one of these Sol Rings as long as the store still has some in stock, right? So this card is going to be valuable. You have to spend a certain amount of money to get it. You can only get it at the LGS. This is the only old bordered Sol Ring you can get with this artwork and this configuration, right? So it is a rarity, and setting the threshold of you have to spend at least 50 US to get it means that people are going to put a particular value on this card, except for the ones who maybe get it as a toss-in, not knowing the promo's going on. But this promo is a massively smart move on Wizards' part, because it's basically guaranteed value. You either get something that's very desirable to you or desirable to others that you can offload, and unlike the Fabled Passage, it's not going to get hit by rotation. It's only going to head upwards. Now, Wizards nailed it with another promo. I'm actually going to put 3 promos up on the screen for you in a group. These are the Store Championship promos. So this is another great way that Wizards is supporting LGSs, and I'm happy to see that they haven't pulled back and said, LGSs, you're on your own. I actually expect going forwards, now that Paper Magic is taking more of the front seat to digital Magic, that we're going to see more of these initiatives. But anyways, up on the screen, you can already see we have 3 different promos. These are the Store Championship promos. The first one is Flame Slash. It's 1 red for a sorcery that deals 4 damage to target creature. Now, this is your participation promo. Every single person who goes to the event is going to get this. Now, obviously, as far as promos go, this isn't super exciting. It's fine. It's a perfectly serviceable card. Getting to do 4 damage to a creature for 1 mana is a good deal mana-wise, right? But it's a whatever card. And so is the next promo, at least in my opinion. Archmage's Charm is 3 blue for an instant. Choose one. Counter target spell. Target player draws 2 cards. Or gain control of target non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. Imagine it said you could get a land with it. A 3 blue instant. Counter spell. Draw 2 cards. Steal your land. Oh man. Anyways, this card's alright. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not a terrible card. It's just not that super exciting, especially once we compare it to the next card. But anyhow, Archmage's Charm is for the top 8. So if you show up to the event, you get a Flame Slash. You make it into the top 8. Now you're getting a Flame Slash and the Archmage's Charm. Now, whoever wins the Store Championship gets the real prize, the Dark Confidant. I was genuinely surprised to see that Wizards of the Coast created this as a prize, right? Because Dark Confidant is a huge card. It's got a lot of like reprint value. I would have expected Wizards to hold it back and go, no, you know what? We're going to reprint this in something else. Normally, when it comes to the Store Championships, they don't put such a desirable card up at the peak. So I'm hoping this is, again, that like push to make stores more important overall, because this is a big deal. And notice as well, they made another different choice with this card. They chose to have it be completely textless. Both the Flame Slash and the Archmage's Charms have the text on the card. The Dark Confidant is designed to be desirable to the top tier of players, right? What they're doing is they're setting it up so that if you are a Store Champion and you win this card, but you're not somebody who cares about playing Modern or the formats where Bob the Dark Confidant is actually viable, well, now all of a sudden, you've got a version that is super desirable to people because it's like this full art textless version. So I see that as a move of Wizards going, yo, why don't we make this card more desirable across the board by taking the text off of it? Because anybody who's playing competitively in a format where Dark Confidant is knows what it does. And if you don't know what it does, at the beginning of your upkeep, you reveal the top card of your deck, lose life equal to its casting cost, and put it into your hand. So it fits into a deck where you usually have a bunch of cheap casting costs, and he basically just says double draw, because the life you're losing from it isn't going to matter half the time. I mean, maybe if you go up against some kind of red deck that's going to tear you apart super quick, but most of the time, the life you're paying to the Dark Confidant is nowhere close to the bonus you're getting from his ability. So this is an awesome include, and one of the things to note about these as well, if you didn't already, this Dark Confidant artwork is 100% repurposed from Streets of New Capenna. You can see in the crystal ball, that's Rafine that's being spoken to here. So I don't know if Rafine is supposed to be the Dark Confidant of this individual or this individual is their confidant. It looks like he's confiding to them overall, but my suspicion is that what happened is the Streets of New Capenna story was meant to be much, much bigger than what we originally got. And so they have, like, if you look at things like Meeting of the Five, they made that card. There was never a Meeting of the Five in the actual story, at least not the one we were given. So this is probably repurposed artwork. In fact, all of it is. That Teferi staff is probably from core set 2020, 2021, whatever it is, right? So it's a great place for Wizards to reuse some artwork in a way that, not reuse, but actually put to use, because they pay for it, right? Like they pay whatever it is, $1,000 for the artwork, but if they can't use it, it goes into a file until they find a place to use it. Anyhow, that wraps up all the Secret Lair and promo news. Thanks for coming by, my friends. Big shout out to my patrons for supporting my channel, and links on the screen if you'd like to spend some more time together.